guys, Chris here from Signs of Life. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to do a video on reverse engineering presets. And the reason for this is I often give the advice to beginners. If they don't understand how to design sounds from scratch, maybe try reverse engineering some presets that already exist and seeing how they work. But the problem with this advice is I never really tell them how to do that. You know, a lot of people can just throw this advice out there like, oh yeah, take an existing preset and figure it out. And sometimes as a beginner, that can be a little intimidating, especially when there's 35 assignments inside of a mod matrix. So in today's video, I'm not only going to demystify the whole reverse engineering presets, but I'm going to show you several examples on different synthesizers. So depending on which type or which synth you actually use, you're going to be able to reverse engineer presets on your own. All right, anyway, so thank you for being here and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so as you can see, I've got a track here. Nice track that's shaping up nicely. Now I just kind of created this real quick to give you guys an idea. And as you can see, we have a beautiful pad here from Anomaly 4 called Dimensional Gate. And I love this pad, so we're gonna get into how to make this, or how to at least reverse engineer it, because a lot of you use Vital. Here's a lead sound called Soaring from Chromatic 3, I believe. Okay. I'm gonna talk about Pigments, because Pigments doesn't have a dedicated mod matrix, so we're gonna talk about that. And then I have a simple bass here from Ancient Technology 3 called Plethora. Okay. We're gonna talk about this one, especially because it's a bass, lots of LFOs working here, you can see that. And finally, just a simple sequence. I just sort of threw this in there for completionist sake. This isn't even a finished preset. This is from Ancient Technology 4, which will hopefully be done next month. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning here. I'm just gonna solo our first track here called Dimensional Gate. All right. Now I'm gonna pause the track here for a second. When I say reverse engineer the preset, what I'm talking about is looking at all of the modulation assignments to see how it was created, okay? And usually that means these envelopes up here, you know, as you can see, you have envelope 1, which is always tied to the amp envelope or the volume in Vital. We have envelope 2 here, which is, I think, blank. These are blank. So the only one we have one envelope here and we only have one LFO. So that's not hard to understand, right? But what is hard to understand is all these randoms down here. We have this random right here. I'll go ahead and play this again. So we have this random down here, okay? These randoms down here. And as you can see, there's little dots inside of the randoms. We'll talk about that. That's an auxiliary modulation. And then you have all these macros over here. And then the big cheese over here is the mod matrix, okay? So this is where a lot of people get confused, right? What does this mean? Like, how am I supposed to be looking at this when there's 23 assignments and I have no idea what any of them mean, okay? So let's talk about this. Now, Vital has a nice mod matrix. It's not perfect, but it's nice, okay? And it has one feature that I really like, which is the ability to organize your presets by number or the mod matrix assignments, or to just categorize them by where they are coming from, okay? That's cool. You can also customize the destination if you're confused about that. So there's obviously some really nice, you know, organizational stuff going on here, right? But if you want to like make a pad like this, the first thing to do is, okay, number one, you're going to take a look at the amp envelope. How long is this? This is 4.5 seconds, 4.5 seconds. You know, that's cool, all right? But then going further, you see we have a wavetable here, and this wavetable is being moved by random 1. Okay, so you can hover over the wheel here, and it just says random 1 is moving the wavetable position. Now, if I play the pad again, you can see random 1 is just a per-lin random at 4/1. It's a very long random. You can see it's slowly moving here, okay? It's in sync mode, which means it's synced to our DAW, and it's in stereo mode, all right? Which is creating these two waveforms up here, okay? Or it looks like it's two waveforms, but it's really one just split into stereo. Okay, so every time you hover over a wheel, you see where it's going, okay? Same with the filter. We could hover over the filter here and say, oh yeah, random one is also moving the filter here. Hence the reason why we don't have many LFOs, okay? We understand that. Over here, this filter has 3 assignments. It has random 2, mod wheel, and velocity. So every time there's a new note, it gets a new position with the velocity, okay? And that's coming from over here. You can see velocity is over here on the right-hand side. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that's a thing. Actually, you guys can't see that. Let me go ahead and make it smaller. Yeah, there's the velocity. So that's also a thing, okay? These, you know, deals on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. So you could say to yourself, okay, well, maybe I could do this myself. And that's really the point, is like saying, okay, well, maybe I could, yeah, I see this oscillator right here. It's got, you know, -12. That means it's down an octave. It's barely on. It's like on, you know, only 0.81. That's not much. So it's just kind of hovering down there. This is obviously the sub oscillator. I've got this pink noise here. But what's going on with this thing? What's going on with this LFO and what's going on with these randoms, right? Well, you can click on the randoms and you can see that random 1 is going to the filter 1 cutoff, the filter 1 waveframe as we talked about, the phaser blend, and the phaser mod depth. However, these have dots in the middle. What does that dot mean? That dot means that these are being controlled by another source. So we call this an auxiliary modulation, meaning you're telling a modulation source to do something, but it won't happen until you do something else, until something else happens. And in this case, it's a macro, okay? How do we know this? Well, we could come to the mod matrix and we can say, all right, well, what's actually controlling random 1, okay? What's actually controlling random 1? Well, we can say, all right, let's see, where's that random 1, okay? Ah, yes, phaser blend. Phaser mod depth, right? But what's controlling that? Well, we could look at the mod matrix here and say, all right, well, is it the dimension, right? Is it macro 4? Because macro 4 is going to a bunch of different destinations. But notice that this is saying modulation 17 amount, modulation 19 amount. Okay? Where's that? Well, we organize by number, go down to 17, yeah? Phaser blend, phaser mod depth, okay? So you kind of have to follow the breadcrumbs a little bit. So when I turn up dimension, you can hear, we're gonna hear a phaser, watch this. Hear that? There's your phaser. Bingo. So if you follow the breadcrumbs enough in this mod matrix, it starts to make sense, right? If you wanna just quickly reference something, just organize it by number or organize it by name, and to say, okay, where's all the random 1s going? Where's all the macros going? Where's the LFOs going? Well, there's only one LFO here, okay? One of the coolest mod assignments in this patch, I think, is the sequence. Because look at random 2. Random 2 is being controlled by filter 2 cutoff, distortion drive, and the oscillator 3 transpose. But notice these are auxiliary modulated, okay? Look what happens when I turn up the sequence. Oh yeah. I love that. I just love that effect, right? It's anomaly 4. It's gorgeous. So you see, like, Vital is a free synthesizer, and that's why I always say, like, oh yeah, like, Vital's free. Don't pay for it. Just get the free version, go into your account, get 1.55 or whatever it is, and then just use it, learn it, and you can make presets like this on the free version, because I did, and this is all free. But, you know, obviously Anomaly 4 is a paid pack because I put so much time into it, but that's besides the point. The point is Vital is a great synthesizer. Still is, in 2025. Anyway, so that's Vital, okay? I hope that makes sense. Use the mod matrix, search by name, and you'll start to figure this stuff out, because sound design, like music, is a language, okay? It's a language, and I want to make that point clear. is that you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but you have to take time to learn this stuff because it's not gonna happen overnight, but you will have aha moments and points along the journey where you'll be like, oh, now I get it. I see what he did there. And it doesn't have to just be my sound design, it can be anybody, Left Drum, Lauga, Dash Glitch, you name it, right? All sound designers speak that language, okay? Okay, let's move on to Pigments, okay? Because Pigments has a little bit different approach. I'm gonna unsolo the Pigments track. Okay, we'll turn down the pad. So this is a lead sound, I think from Chromatic 3. Okay, this is called Soaring. Now Pigments takes the opposite approach, which is anti-mod matrix, right? There's no mod matrix here, but there is a breadcrumb trail, okay? There is sort of a mod matrix, if you want to even call it that. You'll notice that all of the mod sources are here in the middle. So look with your eyes and you see that Pigments has a pretty distinct dividing line. It has the top section, which is the generators and the filters, the middle section, which is all the modulators, and the bottom, which is all of the modulation sources, okay? So if you click on any of these, the ones that are lit up, okay, you'll see that it shows you the destination, okay? It shows you that random 1, which is down here, random 1, is going to W2 position. That stands for wavetable 2 position, okay? Where's wavetable 2? Well, that's usually engine 2 wavetable position. And you notice if you follow the LFO and you follow the wavetable position, they are in sync because they are tied together, okay? But also notice that little clue about Pigments' interface is random 1 is a dark purple, okay? And notice the little dot here on not only the top, but here on the wavetable. That's Pigments' way of saying, hey, here's where this modulation source is, okay? So you have to visually look for the modulation source in Pigments. Pigments is a very visual synthesizer. I've never seen another synth as visual as Pigments. LFO3, same thing. Click on the engine, right? And it turns yellow, okay? Engine 2, fine. But notice here that we have a macro 4. What does that mean? This is what I was talking about in Vital. Something else is tied to that engine 2 fine control. And here Pigments actually tells that to you. It says macro 4. Hopefully in the next version of Vital, if there ever will be another version of Vital, we get that ability. Fingers crossed, Matt, if you're watching, you got this, all right? So it says macro 4. So if I turn macro 4, we're gonna hear a little bit of vibrato. Check this out. Hear that? Right there, okay? It's very subtle, but it's there, okay? So that's, again, an auxiliary modulation. The modulation doesn't happen until I turn up the macro. It doesn't have to be a macro, but that's usually the auxiliary thing. Here, the auxiliary is the aftertouch, AT, aftertouch. How do I know that? Well, keyboard, if I go to the pink, it's aftertouch, okay? And the aftertouch is recorded on there, okay? So now you understand how Pigments' modulation works, okay? It's based on this whole idea of visual modulation. Obviously, this isn't a tutorial on how to use Pigments, but if you drag a modulation source to somewhere else, it's gonna create an assignment, okay? But just look for, if you're wondering where it is, look for the yellow lines. Look, I can even hover over LFO2. I'm not even doing anything. You have to click the assign menu to get in here, by the way. But even if I hover over it, it still has that yellow light show up. It's right over wavetable 1, or engine 1, engine 2, and the synth. The synth is the biggest one, because if there's stuff going on in the effects, then you can see it in the effects. The macros don't light up, but you have all the macro assignments here under the macros. Okay. All right, cool. So that's Pigments. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Now let's add the bass here, and we'll talk about Serum 2. Serum 2 is by far the best. I think it has the best mod matrix. I've always thought that. Why? Because Serum 2's mod matrix actually has the auxiliary source on there, okay? And with Serum 2, they added like, mod remap from Vital and all kinds of stuff. It's cool. But you see, now you actually have a really direct way to see what the aux source is. It's macro 6, it's macro 3, right? So you know, okay, LFO1 is going to the oscillator's B wavetable position. That's pretty obvious. Let's go back to oscillator, okay? LFO1 is going to be, and you see that. When you click on any source of modulation, if it's visible on the screen, it will show up with the blue line, okay? That's always been Serum's way of showing modulation, which, God, I wish Omnisphere 3 would adopt that, but they didn't. Must be something in the original code that they didn't want to change. I don't know, but who cares? The point is that Serum 2 is a workhorse of a synth, and those who really design sounds use this synth, and they know they can do more than just, dubstep basses with it, and ripping, I don't know, wubs or whatever. It's a really powerful synthesizer for all kinds of music. Always has been, but with Serum 2, it's even better, right? So these are all the sources of modulation. We have 6 LFOs here working, and this is just a bass, right? And obviously you could send modulation to the effects themselves as well. So it's not just limited to oscillator types and warp modes and whatever. Modulation can go anywhere, okay? Now Serum has lots of different macros here, and it tells you how many assignments are per macro. See these numbers right here? It says 4, 2, 3, 2, 2, what? So, but it doesn't tell you what they are until you get to the mod matrix. That's why the mod matrix exists. And you can reorganize them. I mean, to be fair, you could, if I wanted to spend hours in reorganizing this, I could drag one up and down, but I'm not going to. So that's Serum. And if you want to assign an aux source, you can do so right here. You don't need to do a drag like Pigments or whatever, or Vital. You can assign it right here with just a single click, okay? That's cool. So now let's just add back the sequence here, and we'll kind of bring this back into the station here, all right? As you can see, we have nice little sequence here. Very simple. This is a very simple sequence because, again, this preset isn't even done. Only got 6 assignments, but you can see what they are. Envelope 2 is going to the filter frequency, right? Macro 1 is going to the warp here. A little timbre control. So this is how it starts. And I tell this to you because of personal experience. When I was first starting out wanting to make presets, this is what I did. I told myself in 2020, when everyone was not leaving their house and it was all shut down, I said, I'm gonna be a sound designer. I'm gonna be a professional sound designer now, and this is how I'm gonna do it. And my synth of choice, Serum 1.0. I took that synth, I started learning all the mod matrix assignments, I started reverse engineering the best presets for Serum 1 I could find, and within 6 months, I could design any sound I wanted. So it was just a matter of time getting up to speed, learning the sound design language, which I'm telling you right now, you can do it too, okay? So hopefully this was helpful for you, hopefully it was inspiring, and hopefully it helped show you that, these are not just like, it's not some secret science or something. It's accessible. You just have to put in the time to learn why these things happen the way they happen, why sound designers make the type of decisions that they do. Because like I said, there's nuances to this language, right? There's times where you want to use a little bit of modulation, times when you want to use a lot. But the more experience you have with this kind of thing and understanding these presets, you'll start to learn that language and you'll be more proficient than you ever were before. Anyway, if this message resonates with you, I'm glad. If you're somebody who really wants to learn the depths of sound design, maybe you might want to check out my mentorship program. Link is down below in the description. I work with you for 6 weeks. We go over all this stuff and more, and I'll help you learn how to design sounds from scratch, and then that feeds into your own artistry. So if that sounds like something that you're into, check me out. Link is down below in the description. You can apply for my mentorship program. I also have other options available, such as my Patreon, where I go over in great detail tons of sound design tutorials, spending over almost 5 years. So anyway, thank you again for watching. Truly appreciate it. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll be back again soon with more videos like this one. So in the meantime, take good care, you guys. And as always, keep your heads in the clouds and your feet planted firmly on the ground. I'm Chris from Signs of Life. I'll see you guys in the next video.